Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about Trump coming out with his own ETF. What? I mean, that kind of crazy stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this is, what it could mean, how can you react to this, what are some potential things you could do, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, let's go on ahead, we'll dive right on in, we'll get straight to the news, and that is the announcement that Trump is going to launch a Bitcoin Plus ETF. Safe to say the first ever POTUS ETF issuer. Pretty interesting. Now to clarify, Trump himself is not actually doing this, but the Trump Media and Technology Group, which counts Trump as its majority owner. So again, not him directly, but the entity that he has majority control of is doing this. So it's safe to say that he's kind of indirectly doing it in a sense. But on Thursday, it said it had filed to register trademarks for the new investment vehicles under its financial tech brand, TruthFi. Each of the exchange-traded funds, ETFs, and separately managed accounts, SMAs, will sound familiar to anyone even tangibly familiar with the president's speeches over the past several months. TruthFi plans to offer Made in America, U.S. energy independence, and Bitcoin Plus ETFs and SMAs, according to the company. The plans include an investment of up to $250 million custodied by Charles Schwab, while Yorkville advisors will guide TMTG. So pretty interesting news overall, right? I mean, I'll like and repost this just so if any of you are interested, just check my Twitter in the description below. You can come and check out, kind of for yourself, check into some of this news and maybe even do your own research, a lot of that type of stuff. So if you are interested, those links are in the description below. You can see here's what has been trademarked. Probably look out for the filing soon. So you can see TruthFi Made in America ETF, TruthFi Made in America SMA, TruthFi U.S. Energy Independence ETF and SMA, and then the TruthFi Bitcoin Plus ETF and SMA. So obviously this is TruthFi, Trump's company, not the White House per se, but Trump is the majority owner, as I did kind of explain there. And then the other thing we could say is, one other note about this is despite Trump's brand, these will likely be microscopic in assets gathering compared to IBIT, FBTC, all the others. But that said, just the fact that they are launching it adds to the mainstreamification of the narrative, which does matter. I do think this is super, super important. Obviously having the sitting U.S. president somewhat sponsoring an ETF indirectly, I do think is a really important news development here. A lot of this stuff, I mean, we're seeing a lot of this type of stuff get added in and kind of continue on and kind of add to the market that we're sitting in. But if we do move on to crypto bubbles, what we can see is obviously not impacting the market, right? I mean, things still down horrendously over this past month, down equally bad over this past week, and then also even today we are seeing things down. So the market obviously not really reacting too much to this news, at least positively, which I do find a little bit interesting. I'm a little bit trying to kind of figure out exactly what's going on here, right? Because obviously Trump won the election, and with that, crypto goes crazy, right? And a lot of crypto went crazy for all of the things he said he was going to do. And of course, I think the response to the comment that I'm making right here is probably going to be something similar to this was obvious, this was a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event, which fair. I think that's possible. But the thing that's interesting to me is people were going crazy. They were buying up all the Bitcoin they could find, all the alts they could find, all this type of stuff. Retail is getting onboarded. It felt like the first time in several years where actually new people were entering the space. And then Trump, well, not really even Trump getting elected, but it's kind of about mid-December, and things just kind of stuttered out a little bit. And since then, things have been, I would say, anywhere from neutral to just outright bad, right? And the thing that's strange about this is we haven't really seen any of that bullish momentum actually come back into the market, even though a lot of the really interesting things that we have seen have actually kind of started to come into fruition. And now if we look here at the Bitcoin chart, we can see kind of exactly that, right? I mean, obviously we talked about this massive run to the upside, but since then we've just kind of been consolidating. And now I will say this chart actually looks a lot better than any of the other charts that we've seen. We can actually see that the Bitcoin dominance is higher than it's ever been, at least this cycle. It's been higher in previous cycles, but we could see, obviously we came up here, we thought we topped because it kind of hit above that 60% range. A lot of people were kind of calling for that 60% range. It started to come down fairly precipitously, and then it's basically been kind of up only back from then. When we did have that kind of massive liquidation event, we actually saw Bitcoin dominance spike really, really hard. And just because in that liquidation event, altcoins were kind of outsized, like it had an outsized impact on altcoins compared to Bitcoin. So we have seen that, but even still, like, obviously we came back down a little bit. That was mostly just a wick, but it has continued to kind of trudge forward, moving to the upside, which is pretty interesting. And so if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, things you may look at this and be like, oh, well, this doesn't actually look too bad. And I would agree with you. This really doesn't look too bad. This looks like a reasonable consolidation after a really strong move to the upside. And so I think this all looks pretty good, at least from where I'm sitting, but alts are a completely different story. Alts have looked generally pretty bad basically ever since we saw this kind of top out here in about the middle of December. It's not been consolidationary. It's basically been kind of down only for alts, which has been a little bit interesting. And so with a lot of this bullish news coming in, like the Trump ETF, again, one really important thing to note about the Trump ETF is we can see that it's Bitcoin plus, right? Plus what, right? Is it plus Solana? Is it plus XRP? Is it plus any crypto that's made in America? Is this made in America cryptos only? Is it including cryptos? Is it just American companies? What do we have here, right? And so there's a lot of different questions that I still think need to be answered here, but this could be a pretty strong and a pretty large catalyst for crypto overall. I think this is more for kind of the news and the sentiment more than anything, because as noted back down in here, like, the amount of investments in these ETFs is probably going to be very, very small compared to some of these larger ones. So something to consider there. Also, if you are looking to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, anything like that, just feel free to use my link to BTCC in the description below. They do not require KYC, as we can see down here. They also are doing a 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is a really, really good deal. Also, extra bonuses up to $10,055 per user. So BTCC definitely looking to throw a decent chunk of money at you if that is something that you are interested in. So, like I said, no pressure either way. But if that is something that you are interested in, definitely check it out in the description below, because it's definitely a really, really strong deal. So, anyway, moving on, I kind of want to talk a little bit more big picture about what this could mean, how this could look, a lot of that type of stuff. And I think in the bigger picture, what we will see coming from this whole development is, even though there's not a lot of positive sentiment and a lot of positive, momentum within the market, I think it's fairly clear for us to say that the things are looking very, very good. I mean, there's a lot of fundamentally bullish things happening. If you've checked out my Twitter, I've been trying to do a much better job of keeping my Twitter, kind of supplied with good content, and trying to find things on the internet and news about crypto and all that type of stuff that's relevant to people trying to keep up with the crypto market. I'm trying to spend more of that time doing the digging so you don't have to. But one of the things that I did talk about a little bit earlier was just kind of all of the things that are happening. One of the posts in particular was talking about the SEC. There are 50 lawyers moved off of essentially investigating cryptocurrency companies. That's really, really good. It seems like there's going to be kind of a wholesale change to regulation there, which I do think is long overdue and very needed. So another thing that's really, really interesting there, and I'm excited to see how it goes, right? And so there's a lot of things going on. I think right now the pieces, kind of the groundwork's being laid and the pieces are being set. And once we kind of start to see the first domino fall, it could kick off and turn into something really, really quite impressive. So just something to consider, something to think about. Like I said, none of this is financial advice. I don't really know for sure what's going to happen, right? I have a lot of hopes and a lot of, aspirations of what I think we could see, but what we are going to see is a completely different question, right? And so I think we need to be very careful, just making sure that we don't get in over our skis on that type of stuff. Make sure you're doing your own research, make sure you're looking into it and kind of figuring out for yourself what makes sense to you. And then also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, please just drop those in there, and we'll talk, and you'll be hearing from me in the comment section below. And also, like I said, like and subscribe really, really does help me out. It helps me get pushed further into the algorithm and helps me grow, all that type of stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.